You're such a trooper. All right. Hello, Lisa.
Hi, Rachel.
How are you?
Awesome, and you?
Good. Well, thank you for being willing to do this kind of last minute.
Thrilled.
So tell my audience a little bit about your background and what you do.
Okay. Hello, I am Lisa Jakes, and I am a colon hydrotherapist. I have not always been a colon hydrotherapist. I've been doing this for going on 12 years, which is so hard to believe it's been that long. I started my career, I worked at Wegmans for 10 years, and while I was there, I went to college for information technology, and somewhere along the way I got really interested in healthcare, and so I started pursuing, I became a licensed esthetician, so I learned how to do facials and body wraps and hair removal and whatnot, and then at some point I had a rollerblading accident and hurt myself. The doctor recommended that I take loads and loads of ibuprofen, which I took half loads of ibuprofen and ended up with leaky gut syndrome.
Oh, wow.
Went to a nutritionist, and she did biofeedback, determined that her suspicion was that I had leaky gut syndrome, so I changed my diet. I had to eliminate a bunch of things, and then I was doing a heavy metal detox and decided that coming for Colonics would be really beneficial to get the toxins out of my body as quickly as possible and to help heal my gut. So I started coming here probably around 2005 or 6, I don't remember exactly. Maria DeAngelis was the owner of the business at the time. She was in the process of selling the business. I ended up buying it around, I started working here in August of 2007, and I bought the business at the end of May 2008.
Oh, wow.
So I have been the owner since then, and yeah, it's been an interesting journey.
Journey.
Yeah.
So, yeah, journey for sure. So the accident actually did that kind of lead you to this path?
Absolutely.
Okay.
So when I was suffering from the intestinal issues, I happened to be at the Race for the Cure, and one of my friends, former colleagues, she hooked me up with her nutritionist and the colonics and lymphatic drainage. So I started doing all of those things in an attempt to heal myself and become healthier.
Wow.
So it was very fortuitous that I ran into her, and that she had all of these resources that she shared with me, and
everything happens for a reason,
yes,
right?
I believe so.
Yeah. So I personally love Colonics. I have had many from you, and I highly recommend Colonics to people who need to heal their guts or just routine, have a little bit of help in that, getting rid of all the toxins. So give my audience a little behind the door of what happens during a colonic, because I'm sure there's a lot of myths out there if you want
Definitely. So a colonic, for anyone who's not sure what exactly that is the gentle cleansing of the colon, which is the large intestine, which is so the small intestine does the digestion, and then whatever's left that the body doesn't need will end up in the large intestine / colon to be eliminated as poop. So
we love poop.
Yes, we love pooping.
Exactly.
That's for sure. So the on average, people's colons are around 5 to 6 feet long. So it's quite a distance for the fecal matter to travel. So with a colonic, I have a gravity-fed closed system. So what that means is there's a tank of warm filtered water on the wall. The clients are lying on a massage table. The scope that's inserted into the rectum goes in about that far. And then it's just warm filtered water that's flowing into the body from that point, into the colon. Water flows in, water and fecal matter flow out, but everything is contained. So it's a closed system. There's no odor, there's no mess. Like I said, it's gravity, so the water's just flowing in gently through gravity, and water, fecal matter, and often gas end up coming out. Sometimes there's undigested food as well.
So in like your experiences with patients, like what seems to be a reoccurring theme with people that have colonics or have them routinely, or do they express like the benefits they are feeling to you? Are they open about
Yes.
the benefits?
So there are a variety of reasons for people to come in for colonics. Some people come in because they just know that it's really good for your overall health. It's really beneficial. Some people come in because they're doing like some type of detox, and the protocol for the detox includes either doing enemas or having a colonic. Some people are really hesitant to do enemas on themselves, especially at home, so they'll come in here for either an enema, because I offer those also. So water enemas, coffee enemas, and colonics. Some people have some type of inflammatory bowel disease, so that could be IBS, diverticulitis. Some people have ulcerative colitis, but so with the inflammatory bowel diseases, I can't work on someone when they're in the middle of a flare-up, but colonics can help prevent those issues from occurring. And the majority of my clients are suffering from chronic constipation, whether that's it can be hereditary, physiological, passed down from generation to generation. In my experience, most constipation is self-induced, whether that means from not drinking enough water, not getting enough exercise, not allowing themselves to use public restrooms. A lot of people have issues with public restrooms and won't go. So even if their body's telling them, I have to go, their answer is, no, we're not doing that right now. So
okay, wow. Do you feel like some of it's emotional for people?
I think a lot, yes. In many cases, a lot of people, for whatever reason, whether it's because they just hold on to all of their emotions, and people will carry their emotions in various places of their body. Some people get really tense up in their neck, shoulder area, and that's where they hold a lot of their emotions. Some people get migraines because they hold all their emotions in their skull. But a lot of people will hold it right in their gut. So you've heard the phrases like, I have butterflies in my stomach, so that's you know that you're feeling some type of emotion, and it's happening, and it's literally happening in your intestines. There's some other sayings that I'm blanking on right now, but and they've also done a lot of research. Doctors have done a lot of research, and they've made a direct connection between depression and gut health.
Okay, yeah. So I've heard that a lot, the gut-brain connection, because I've heard the development of the brain and the gut are right next to each other as we're first developing and spread apart as we become more ready to be born, if you will. So yeah, I was wondering if you had experience with
yeah, so yeah, they do. They call the colon the second brain, but a lot of practitioners, my fellow practitioners, think that the colon is like the first brain because it controls so much of what else is going on with your body.
I totally agree. I mean, I'm a person that my gut is where I store a lot of my anxiousness or whatever, my emotional stuff. And sometimes I actually feel it in my lower back too.
Yes, so I have had clients come in with lower back pain, and then after a colonic it's gone. So
yeah, for me, I mean, I used to experience, I mean, not for all you people that love to have a flat stomach, you never will have a flatter stomach than after you have a colonic. And I used to be like, oh my god, I'm never like
eating again.
I'm never gonna eat. I'm never gonna nothing. But also too, it's just instantly my brain was clear. My skin,
yeah. It's amazing to me how many people I've had come in, and then when they leave, I can like literally. It doesn't happen with everyone, but with some people, I can literally like their skin looks brighter and clearer just from one session, which is to
amazing.
me, it's amazing.
And I believe it because I'm so passionate about gut health. So this is like I'm like so just it's so great. So when you have somebody that come in for their first colonic, like what are some recommendations that you make at the end of their first session?
So we'll go in preparation for a colonic.
Sure, perfect.
I recommend that people drink lots of water for a day or two before they come, and also on the day of the appointment to not have any significant quantity of food for at least 2 or 3 hours before their session, because when your body's busy digesting, it doesn't necessarily want to eliminate at that time. So so that's what I recommend. And afterwards, I recommend people, which is just a recommendation, people can do what they choose, but I recommend no processed food, no fried food, especially like that day, and to not eat any food that gives you gas.
Makes sense.
Yeah. Most people are able to return to their daily activities without suffering any repercussions. Some people continue to release afterwards. That happens occasionally. And some people feel really energized and want to go home and clean their whole house. Other people want to go home and take a nap. So
interesting.
Yeah.
So
everybody's different.
Yeah. So when somebody comes in for their first one, how often after that do you tell them they should, if they want to keep up with their gut health and their overall health, how often to come back to see you?
The general recommendation with colonics, especially when people first start, is to come 3 times kind of close together, because there's 3 main sections to your colon. There's the ascending, the transverse, and the descending. So we want to so when the water first starts going in, you clean out, we get as much of the descending cleaned out as possible, and then we target the transverse, and then we target the ascending. So it's a general recommendation. I always tell everyone, because I really want people to be more in tune with listening to their bodies, so I tell everyone to listen to their bodies and do what they feel is best for them. I am happy to make recommendations. So the 3 kind of close together, so whether that's once a week for 3 weeks or once every other week for 6 or whatever people can make work for them, is what I will recommend. But and then after that, after the 3rd one, if people choose to do that, then we think about how they want to go forward. So I have people that come 4 times a year, once every season, which is really good. That's a good frequency. And then there are other people that come every 8 weeks or 6 weeks or 4 weeks, or they come more often. Like I said, maybe some people will come every 2 weeks or 3 weeks in the beginning for several months, and then get to the point where they're going to the bathroom more often themselves. That's one of the goals of colonics, is to get people going to eliminating more frequently all on their own. They're not addictive, so your body will not need a colonic in order to have a bowel movement. The colonic actually helps exercise the colon. So so those are my recommendations.
Because I've heard people say that, like, oh, well, why do our bodies need that extra push to detox or cleanse? Our bodies are doing that all the time. Do you have a thought on that? I know I have my thoughts, but...
Well, I think that maybe as human beings were developing, from Cro-Magnon man forward, that was probably true in most cases, other than when there was a serious physiological issue. But in today's day and age, with all the processed food, which isn't food, it's fake food disguised as food. And with all the environmental toxins, and we've got more stress these days than ever. Technology is good and bad. It just seems to make our lives are just going so fast that some of the constipation is because people just don't want to take the time to sit on the toilet. They just don't have time.
So crazy. That's so crazy to me. I'm like, oh my God, don't you just love that feeling after you go?
Right, but some people don't ever get that feeling, because they either they have a little elimination, but they don't eliminate enough to have that. Wow, that was really good.
It's orgasmic for
and it can be. It's very euphoric. It can be very euphoric for people. Absolutely.
And I have clients that tell me too, like, I go every 3 or 4 days. That's normal for me. And you should be eliminating every day, correct?
You should be eliminating at least once every day. Ideally, we should be eliminating, if we eat 3 times a day, ideally we would be eliminating 3 times a day.
Okay.
So if you're not eliminating 2 or 3 times a day, you're probably constipated. And in general, Americans in particular are walking around with anywhere from 5 to 15 pounds of fecal matter in their colons.
So that is real. I did see that the other day.
That is real. I have my biggest success story was a gentleman that came in. He didn't live in this state, but he was visiting, and he's in the military, and he had an obscene number of knee surgeries, and he was on an even more obscene number of pain medications, and which are constipating. So he literally weighed himself in my bathroom on my bathroom scale before the colonic, and then when he was done, he did release a significant amount of on the toilet, like 7 pounds he lost in one session. Like that's not typical. Typical is maybe half a pound to a pound and a half is typical if people release well. But then I do have some female clients in particular who will like 3 to 4 pounds is like average for them to eliminate during one session.
Wow, that's crazy. Like, but
so weight loss should not be the goal.
Right.
But
to
getting rid of excess stool that's been building up and building up and building up, and the gas that comes along with that oftentimes, so the bloating and the discomfort and that always feeling full, that to me that's the goal, to just feel better and feel lighter and feel like there's some space in there for a change.
Yeah. Well, and I hear all the time from my clients too, like, I wish I could, especially women, I wish I could just lose this pouch in the front. And I tell them, and it's a lot, you're holding on to a lot of poop. I mean, have you noticed that with people too? That
I, unfortunately, and excuse my French, but like everybody's full of shit. Everybody is full of shit. Like not everybody, but lots of people. I've even had teenagers because they just don't go to the bathroom.
Wow. So, and all of the people you talk to, like, a lot of people may not share with you why they don't, other than, like, they don't want to use a public restroom, but does anyone, like, have you ever gotten, like, them to open up and say, I just have a fear of pooping, like, I just hold on to it emotionally, or, it's interesting to me, because it's just, so many people do this, I feel.
I believe that's correct. I've only actually I had one client who was afraid of porcelain, so the toilet scared her, which is I've never heard that before. That was interesting. Okay. And lots of people will not use public restrooms. They just won't. So there's a variety of reasons. I think a lot of people maybe just don't understand that. The importance of having a bowel movement every single day, if not hopefully twice a day.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So like at the end of a session, if somebody said, wow, that was great, do you give recommendations of like supplements they should take or foods they should try to eat?
Depending on what I say. So one of the main things that I tell people is you need to chew your food more. What's your recommendation?
I've heard different things. Yeah, I think we're all
so anywhere from 40 to 60 chews before you swallow. Like you want to masticate the food as much as possible before you swallow. Ideally it'll be liquid when you swallow it. It may not. It obviously doesn't start out that way, but by the time you swallow, it should be pretty liquid.
Okay.
Ideally, that's like the optimal number of chews. Whatever that takes. So spaghetti will go faster, but because when I see a lot of undigested food in coming out of people's bodies, it didn't get digested. So no nutrients were extracted from that food. So you ate it, but your body can't use the nutrients for energy or to heal, or because the body has to heal, and we need food to do that, and people. So I typically recommend that people take a really good probiotics, a good bacteria for your colon, because once we've taken a round of antibiotics, anytime in our life, typically the gut flora gets a little out of balance. Not that it can't get back into balance, but add on to that all the toxins and the processed food and everything else that we're doing to our bodies. And the number of times people have been on antibiotics, the bacteria, the good and bad bacteria can get out of balance. And even some of the good bacteria, if it proliferates too much, like Clostridium difficile is a normal endogenous bacteria in our body, but due to excessive antibiotic use, that particular bacteria can proliferate, and then it causes all kinds of issues.
Oh,
so
I did not know that.
Probiotic, sometimes digestive enzymes, those are typically the two that I recommend the most. Sometimes, occasionally I might suggest people take some fiber, but typically people aren't drinking enough water to make the fiber supplementation beneficial. So
that's a good point, because I know a lot of people that I know don't drink enough water will take fiber, and then they're like, it's not working.
That makes things in your body more bulky, but without the additional water, it won't move it out. So.
Push it out. Okay, that is. So, so you notice people coming in and time after time, like you said the success story with the one guy you had that got rid of 7 pounds. What are some other things that you've noticed or experienced or had people tell you that over the course of...
This was great. So I had one woman that came in, and she brought her husband, and they both told me that she, like, if she goes to the bathroom once a week, that's great.
Lord.
And so we did one colonic. She didn't eliminate a lot during that colonic, but then the next day at home she had 3 bowel movements.
Wow,
and then she continued to have bowel movements. And so usually one colonic is not enough to get the body back and functioning that quickly on its own, but I was thrilled for her. Absolutely.
That's awesome. Well, it's so important. I tell people all the time, when I was in the pharmacy, I'd have people tell me something about their poop, and I'm like, well, that's important. Like, your poop tells you a lot, and if you're not going, it tells you even more. And it's not just disappearing. So
that's interesting that people think that, well, I'm not eating all of that much, so I figure that my body is just using all of it. No. It's not.
And I've had people say, well, you know what, I'm like, no. No matter how good you eat, there's things in your food that you're not using. You need to
Absolutely. Well, if you think about like the cells in our body, we can't see them. They're so tiny. You can't see them. So in order for them to be able to absorb get any energy from any of the food that we eat, it has got to be as tiny as the cells are to get through the cell membrane.
That's a great thought.
So if you're not chewing your food enough to get it small enough for your body naturally produces enzymes and stomach acid and bile to help digest the food. But if we're not helping our digestive system by chewing a lot before we swallow, then it's trying so hard, it's working so hard, and it's sometimes futile. It just can't.
And it makes me think too that these people that are always having these, whether it's heartburn or reflux or whatever, a lot of that is probably they're just swallowing these huge portions of food and not chewing.
Correct.
And then it has to find a way to work its way through everything.
It sure does. And and you would ask me about success stories. So some of in general, a lot of people just when they're like, I feel so much better. They just feel so much better. They have more energy. They feel like they can see clearer, they can think clearer, it's just they're happier. It's mood enhanced. It's just it's just such a good thing.
So many, and that's why I'm so passionate about gut health and you as well. I mean, it's just there's so many benefits, and I personally think like our whole health starts in our gut.
Absolutely.
It dictates
the whole body health is if you're not eliminating the toxins and the excess whatever's left after your body gets done processing for energy, all of the other organs in your body are going to start slowing down. Metabolism slows down. Like I said, there are more nerve cells in the colon than there are in the entire spinal column.
Wow.
The serotonin, the 90% of the serotonin produced in our body is stored in the colon, not the feel good neurotransmitter with the brain.
Yeah.
It's stored in our gut.
90%.
90%. So if you're not eliminating properly, it does interfere with everything.
So people talking about mental wellness should really not think it's like, I've heard people say my brain is broken, and it's actually our guts that need to be healed.
In most cases, yes. I mean, in some cases they have issues with the brain, but in most cases,
majority of the
if
cases,
they could focus, if they focused on their gut, they would help the brain.
So I can't tell you guys enough how important going to the bathroom is, but I definitely am a huge believer in colonics. So for those listening that are, local enough in like the Syracuse area, the New York area, like where can they find your business, you?
So I'm in the Fayetteville DeWitt area. I'm upstairs from a chiropractor, and I'm near the big Wegmans in DeWitt. And my business is Vitonics, Vitonics, and you can go to my website and book online if you want, or get some more information, or you may call or text me, and my number is on my website.
She's fantastic. I have to say, I'll give you guys a little. So I have had you do the majority of my colonics, but I had one other time I went to someone else, and I didn't release at all, and it was. So I don't know what that was, but you're just magnificent. So she's the best of the best. So thank you so much for being here.
Absolutely, thanks
and
for coming.
I look forward to having you again, and I look forward to hearing what people. People that have heard of colonics but been afraid.
There's no pain.
No pain.
No pain involved.
Good.
Awesome. The 99% of the people that come here say, "Oh my gosh, that was so much better than I thought it was gonna be. I was so nervous, but it was great."
No pain, but a lot of beneficial gain, if you will, because you get so much from it. That's health-wise. It's like stop putting more toxins in our body with pharmaceuticals and all that stuff, and start getting rid of some of the toxins that are actually sitting there and for possibly years. Is it?
Possibly years.
That's crazy. So get rid of those toxins and be amazed at how much better you can feel.
Absolutely.
So until next time, guys, be happy and be healthy.
Bye.